Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to the show here. And just to wrap up on the Middle Eastern news here before we take a phone call. Apparently there has been a major goof in Lebanon and Iran where dozens of American spies have been captured. Latest report, apparently they did not take their cyanide capsules. So there's going to be some embarrassment coming out. Maybe that's the reason why the U.S. is saying sanctions, bank, cut off communication, because it's going to get kind of ugly. It's obvious, that the U.S. is trying to provoke a crisis somewhere, anywhere, to distract from what's going on with the economy in this country. I mean, Bloomberg has this pipe bomb guy. One bomb. But he was going to, the terrorist was going to blow up soldiers and offices and firehouses. Had a list of like 100 targets and just one bomb, which, by the way, appears to have been provided to him by another one of these undercover informants. Apparently, this one is such a major embarrassment. Even the FBI doesn't want to have credit on this one. They're saying, Mike Bloomberg, this is yours. You get it. we have you can have all the credit. And, of course, Bloomberg is trying to wave this around to distract from what's going on with the police and the Occupy Wall Street. They want the corporate media to say, "Ooh, forget about the cops whipping on them protesters. Let's go follow the bomb." So, yeah, they're public figures, and they're due their share of raspberries here. Now, moving over to the other side of this body of water I have outside the window here, over to Japan. Things are getting kind of interesting over there. More and more radiation is coming out of the ground. They don't want to talk about it. TEPCO is still saying it's all under control, even though they're admitting they're detecting the products of ongoing fission. We're like almost to a year after this meltdown, and apparently somewhere in the ground underneath the ruins of those reactors, there is ongoing nuclear fission right now. The guy who designed reactor number 3 has a prediction and a warning, which we will tell you when we come back from these commercials. And aloha, America. Welcome back to the show here. So we're talking about over in Fukushima, the architect of reactor 3. Now, that's the one that had the MOX fuel that blended plutonium with the uranium. It's very, very dangerous fuel, highly toxic, far more dangerous than just the conventional straight fissionable uranium. And basically, the architect who designed it, Iyuhara Haruo, I believe that's pronounced correctly, the former president of Saga University, was interviewed back on the 17th, and he basically said TEPCO's explanation for what's going on does not make sense. And he said the same thing I have been saying, that a China syndrome is inevitable at this point. He pointed out it's been 8 months without any improvement in the situation. It is inevitable that melted fuel is out of the container vessel and in the ground, fissioning away at the point where it hits the water table, or worse, an underground water vein. There'll be massive contamination of underground water, soil contamination, sea contamination. They're right on the shoreline. And if there is enough heat in this fissioning mass, there can be what he is calling a hydrovolcanic explosion. We would call it a geyser, but it's basically highly radioactive steam being blasted up into the atmosphere. This thing is still going on out there, and they're talking about all this farmland's been contaminated. We still have days here in Hawaii where we'll see the radiation counts surge. And most of last week it was basically just above the baseline, because we always have a little radiation count here living on basalt, which is always slightly radioactive. We had one day where it almost doubled in one day. So we're still seeing waves of radioactive contamination coming over this way. Now, of course, we have to worry about the ocean-borne contamination. They're getting debris from the tsunami, some of which is still radioactive with those longer isotopes, that are washing up in Canada and the United States. It's here in our island chain out toward Midway. We're not actually seeing it on the beaches of Hawaii just yet, but we're at the point where we're starting to look.